Welcome to Mahjong Central. My name is Michelle. On this episode of Nosh and Such, I'm going to make an appetizer for Mahjong, and I think it's going to be the perfect recipe. No grease. I am going to saute the chicken in some olive oil, but I'm going to cool it and just make sure that there's no grease on that chicken when I put it in the puff pastry. And I don't make puff pastry from scratch. I'm just learning how to bake, so I'm not quite there yet. I have to use Pepperidge Farm. So what I have here is inspired by a recipe that I found online at a website called From a Chef's Kitchen. And I didn't have all the ingredients that she had, so I'm going to modify it and make my own. Let's hope it turns out. I have some chicken breasts that I've cleaned and cut up into small pieces because I want all of these pieces to be bite-sized, even less than bite-sized, because I want a couple little pieces of chicken in each appetizer. So I've diced it up pretty small, and when I cook it, it's going to get even smaller. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm going to season the chicken with a little bit of garlic, some Himalayan pink salt, some ground black pepper, and some sage, just because I like savory. Savory is good. And that's subjective, I know. All right, so that is going to be the chicken. So I'll do that first. In preparation for this recipe, I have some chopped spinach here that I squeezed all the water out of, and then I laid it on some napkins just to soak up more of that water. And hopefully that'll keep this appetizer from getting soggy. I did the same thing with some artichoke hearts, and I had a great recommendation from one of the viewers from the last time I made something with this marinated artichoke from Costco. It was marinated in olive oil, and he or she, I can't remember who made that recommendation, but they recommended that I rinse it, so I did. I rinsed it, and then I put it on the napkin to drain it a little bit so that it also doesn't make the end appetizer soggy. So that'll be part of the filling with the chicken. Also, I have some cream cheese. This is a brick of cream cheese and a half a cup of mayonnaise. Now, the recipe that I'm using as inspiration called for mayonnaise, and I wasn't sure about that. I don't know what that's going to do. So I'm going to add it because she had it in her recipe, and she's a chef since the recipe's from a chef's kitchen. So I'm going to trust her judgment there. Then I have a couple tablespoons, let's see here. That's probably a tablespoon of chives, chopped chives. And then I have probably a half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. And then, so all these pieces, all this right here, will go in with the chicken as a filling for the puff pastry. And then here I have 1 egg with about a tablespoon of water, just as an egg wash for over the pastry packages, the parcels, as it were, just to give it a nice golden color. So I am going to go ahead and season this chicken here. Oh my goodness, I almost had that would have been a disaster. Oh, have you ever done that? I have to admit it. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little teeny bit. Too much garlic, not good. And I'm going to put this over here because I'm going to season this side, and then I'm going to put it in the saute pan, which has some olive oil in it, by the way. And I have it, I had it warming, almost burning on a medium heat. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put in just a little bit of this salt. I think that's it. I'm really not a fan of salt. And some pepper. I think that's it too. I'm not going to do a whole lot. Okay, and then I'm going to do sage, but I'm going to do it later once it's cooked. Then I'll do sage at the very end just to kind of bring out the oils in the sage in that final saute process. So here we go. Here's an overhead view of the chicken sauteing. And here's an image of the sauteing with the sage added. So I've just finished sauteing this chicken, and I've had it sitting on a little paper towel here to cool for a minute. I'm going to dice it a little bit more because I think these pieces are still a little bit big for the appetizer. So I'm just going to cut them into smaller pieces. So this is going to take me a minute. I think there's probably about 2 cups of chicken in here. Oh, somebody told me not to scrape the cutting board with the knife edge. I have to retrain my mind and scrape with the back of the knife, so that you don't have to sharpen your knives so much. Did I scrape again? Oh, I did it again. Oh my goodness. I guess I'm not very trainable in the kitchen. Kind of a renegade in the kitchen. I do what I think is right, and I have not been trained. I'm just, I did it again. Oh my goodness. That's terrible. I almost did it again. Watch, I'm going to do it right. There. Scrape with the back of the knife. There, I did it. Scrape. There. Okay, I have a lot more practice to do, I think. Oops. Okay, scrape. Oh, I did it again. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right, that's going to take practice. So there's my chicken. So I'd say that's probably about 2 cups. Now, oh, I forgot to tell you, I have the oven preheated at 400, and I have these little muffin tins, and they've been sprayed with Pam. Now, we're going to combine this. Let me just see. Yeah, this is cool. You don't want your chicken to be hot because it'll cook the cream cheese and the mayo. We're going to combine all this now. I'm going to use the back of my knife to scrape. There. Oops. Okay. There's the chicken. Okay. Okay, it's still a little warm. You can see it got a little foggy in there, but I think it'll be okay. So now I'm going to take the cream cheese and the mayo and get that in there. It's kind of sticky. Okay. Then we're going to add the spinach. So this spinach, I kind of pressed it out so it's a bit, clumped together. So I'm just going to pick it apart. And this might take a few minutes here because there's a whole package of spinach here. So this is going to take a minute. I think that's enough. My husband is going to be eating this time, and he's not a fan of veggies, so I think I'll go light on the spinach. Put however much you want in there. It's kind of a to-taste recipe. I am, however, going to put all these artichokes in there, and he may or may not like that. I'm hoping he'll think it's a piece of chicken. Hopefully he didn't hear me say that. So there's the artichoke and the spinach. We're going to add the chives and the Parmesan and mix. Oops. I'm pretty clumsy in the kitchen. I make a big mess. So far it smells really good. That Parmesan. I know this is not a healthful appetizer, both with the cheeses and the mayonnaise and the puff pastry, but anything in moderation I think is okay. Just have one. I don't think that's possible for me though, because I know this is going to be really tasty. I think I might have two. Okay, so this combined really nicely. Just so you can see the consistency here. Okay, I think we're good there. And I am going to just set this aside now, because we're now going to work with the puff pastry. The instructions on the package say to sprinkle a little bit of flour on your table or board or pastry protector thing. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so the recipe that I inspired this said to take the pastry sheet and cut it into 4 equal parts, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to modify it because I want to fill each one of these. So I think I'm going to take each pastry sheet and cut it so that I fill as many of these as possible. I don't know yet how I'm going to cut it. This is going to be a test. I've never done this before with this kind of idea with this muffin tin. So we'll see what happens. You know what? I learned from my mistake last time, because you don't want this puff pastry to get warm. It's harder to work with. So I'm going to put this back in there. And I'm going to stick it in the freezer while I do this. Okay. Already it's kind of hard to get back in there. Okay. In the freezer. Now, one sheet at a time. Now we have 2 sheets. Okay, 2 sheets and 2 pans. There's 12 holes, 12 muffin holes there. So I'm going to copy it. Look, it's almost the right size. So let's see what happens here. I'm just going to use this pizza cutter and I'm going to cut. Okay, and then I'm going to cut like so. All right. Next, I am going to put each one of these in the muffin tin, like that. Just stick it on in there. This is going to take a minute. Oh, I have 4 extra. Okay, this one's a little tiny. I think I'll swap that out. So's that one. We'll do this one. Okay, now there's one. So we're going to do this one now. Even with a guide, I can't cut straight. This is why I was not able to learn how to sew. My mom was really talented, and she was a costumer. In addition to all the myriad of talents, she sewed. She made costumes for her musical productions, and she tried to teach me how to sew, and it was not good. I couldn't cut a straight line, and no, it wasn't good. So I did not learn how to sew. All right, we're going to continue with the tucking now. Okay, so I'm going to have to get clever with these remaining pieces, and I already have an idea. We're going to make little hot pockets with these right here. We'll see how that goes. We're done with the cutter here. All right, now I am going to fill each one of these with about a tablespoon of the filling. I think that's going to be a good amount. Maybe a little less. I think a little bit less than a tablespoon. Yeah. Probably just eyeball it. Maybe a heaping teaspoon is probably more like it. It's like that one probably had too much. Okay. Let's speed this process up. I'm not done yet though. We got to do this one. Now, what I think I'm going to do is wash my hands first. I want to now sort of pull the corners up and kind of pinch them in so that it makes a little parcel like that. Can you see that? Okay, here we go. It's going to take a minute. We'll speed this up too. Okay, before I go too much further, it's easier to pick it out of the tin. Okay, pick it out and kind of use your thumbs to pull the dough. And then just put it back in there. Okay, now we'll speed this up. And you're going to want to give yourself some time, because I think this is going to be the time-consuming part of this process. It's not too bad, though. I think the end result is going to be lovely. I think it's going to be a really fancy-looking appetizer. I just had a thought, though. This is puff pastry, so I'm assuming it's going to puff up. And I have it in a muffin tin. I wonder if that's going to constrict it. I'm going to go with it, though. We'll see what happens. Here they are. Maybe they'll puff up. If they can't puff from the bottom, because I have them in there, maybe they'll puff up almost like a muffin. I mean, it is in a muffin tin, by the way, so maybe it will just puff up instead of out. We shall see. Can you tell I do a lot of hacking in the kitchen? I kind of just do what I want. I follow a recipe to a point, and then I become a renegade. I'm a renegade in the kitchen. Okay, there they are. So now I'm going to wash my hands again, because that flour gets kind of caked on. Now I'm going to brush each one of these with just a little bit of egg wash. Oops, I think that was too much on that one. Okay, that's all right. It'll be all right. Now this one. Oh, I missed one. Darn it. We're going to put these in the oven, 400 degrees for 20 minutes. While we wait for that to cook, I'm going to clean up this mess. Okay. Here they are, fresh out of the oven. Aren't they pretty? Can't wait to taste. They're screaming hot, so I'm not going to taste yet. We'll let them cool for a few minutes. This is definitely not a one-bite appetizer. And it might be a bit crumbly. I think we might need a fork for this one too. I am on the search for a finger food, one bite. I'm gonna keep searching. If you know of any recipes like that, let me know. I'm having a hard time finding them. So we'll let these cool and see how it tastes. Here's an overhead view of the chicken parcels just out of the oven. I've let them cool. I'm going to get them on the plate now. They almost look like a muffin. I guess that makes sense since I cooked them in a muffin tin. And I think they puffed up just fine. Oh, they're really pretty. Okay. There, what do you think? Is that pretty? Oops. They're a bit roly-poly. Maybe I should tuck them around the edges. There. Okay. How's that? Would you serve that? I think it's pretty. Just a little bit greasy. Oh, and here's the little hot pockets. I'll bite into one of those too. This little one is kind of cute. I don't think I would serve those though. This will go to my family. Okay, so let's give one of these a taste. I think I'll take this one. What do you think of that? Is that cute? It's a little teeny chicken muffin. Okay. Here we go. I hope it's not too hot. You see in there? It's really good. Do I have spinach in my teeth? Yeah, gosh, I just thought about that. If you're having an event and you serve spinach, your guests could have spinach in their teeth playing Mahjong. That would be hilarious. They would take a bite and have a big old piece of spinach in their teeth. One bam, and they have a big spinach in their teeth. That would be hilarious. It's very good. And the mayonnaise added a little bit of a zing. I think it was a good ingredient. Very, very tasty. I would definitely make this for Mahjong. Absolutely. This is a great recipe. And I think it is beautiful. Now, as far as the spinach, if you want to have a laugh, do the spinach. But the spinach might not be a good idea if you don't want to have your guests walking around with spinach in their teeth. It might be funny though. Really good. I love puff pastry. It's very good, and there's so many things you can do with it. This is a really good recipe. Try it yourself. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, click subscribe. Then click that bell so you get notification for when I post new videos. That way you won't miss out on any great nosh recipes for your next Mahjong event. Between now and the next Mahjong Nosh and such, may all your picks be keepers. Just to make sure I don't have any spinach in my teeth. No spinach.